Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I feel like I haven't seen these faces in, 30 seconds. It's too long. Okay, so what I would like to talk about today, I've been thinking about for a few weeks now. I actually made this presentation before when I had my talk in New Jersey. And I hope it's a lot better than the first time. But it's called Bigger on the Inside. No one really gets the reference until I start showing you pictures about what's in here. But even then, if you don't watch the show, then you don't understand. But yes, first is my introduction. Since I'm not from Hawaii, you don't know, you should only know one of my parents, which is Ken Owens, the photographer. He was the first member to join in Hawaii when he came from his ship in the Navy. And yes, as you can see, I'm half Korean. That's my very cute mom. I was born in New York City, and I'm the first of 3 kids. My brother came visited last year. But basically, we stayed in the New York City, New Jersey area because my father would wake up every morning at 3 a.m. on Sunday, not every morning, every Sunday 3 a.m. to drive up to East Garden or Belvedere to take pictures of True Father, give hundoke. So, as you would expect, we children woke up at 3 a.m. to go to East Garden or Belvedere to listen to True Father for the first hour and then play in the backyard with every other children until he was finally done. Just so that we can go to the diner nearby for breakfast for free. And but as we got older, we would have to stay longer, and then we would take notes. Or as a kid, it was very hard to sit with True Father speaking for hours and hours and hours. But I feel very blessed to have been in that area where True Father and True Parents and True Children, etc., were living for 40 years. And I think I took it for granted because when I would meet blessed children from Europe or Asia or other places, and they would have never seen True Parents before, only in their photographs. And I felt very horrible as a person for taking True Father's speeches and his humor for granted. But basically what I'm going to be talking about is True Parents in my life. And yeah, so just to start off is to show how where I came from as me. So yes. But as I grew older, I found how sensitive I was to people and to words and to just anything. So when I went to STF, I had a very hard time having to take in all of these other people's emotions from their tough day or something, and just how my character is. When someone says, do something, I say, why? Why do you want me to do something? And then they'll say, because I told you to, and I'm your leader. And I go, that's not good enough, tell me why. I was one of those children who just asks back. It was a very bad thing, but I was just curious. Why do you want me to do something? Don't tell me it's because I'm older than you, I'm your leader. I just want to say, it's good for your growth. Oh, okay, I'll do it. It was very simple, but no one knew that. So I was struggling with not being understood. My friend gave me this poem that I used as a bookmark, and it was very helpful. It's called Unconditional Heart. It's by the newly sainted Teresa, Mother Teresa. She wrote this when she was struggling in the second half of her life. She couldn't feel God anymore. She was doing all of these things good things, giving, loving to poor people, to poor communities, to children, but she lost the feeling of God. She couldn't feel him anymore no matter what she did. So she wrote this poem to keep herself going. Even though she couldn't feel him, she wanted to feel him anyway. So I'll just read a few lines that in the beginning, just to kind of like understand where she came from. People are often unreasonable. Forgive them anyway. If you are kind, people may accuse you of selfish, ulterior motives. Be kind anyway. It kind of sounds familiar to True Father's poem of The Crown of Glory, doesn't it? Yes. Where he would do all of these things, and he was accused of bad intentions. He would, be thrown in prison, accused, insulted, and persecuted, and then the members would be persecuted because of him. So for me, as someone who likes to answer why, when I was given something to do, I had a very hard time. Because my intentions were always, I'm just curious. But everyone kept saying, you're bad and you're selfish and you don't actually want to do it. So I kept this poem to try and keep myself from losing heart on who I am, because I felt that I had to, lie just to make myself sound good. Oh, I tried really hard this fundraising run. I talked to so many people. Actually, I only talked to 2 people and made my report. Oh, I tried really hard. I almost lost faith in this run, but I kept going, although I would just walk to a coffee shop, buy some coffee, and sit there and wait, because I had a hard time at the time. And I would just lie to make myself sound good, and I didn't like that feeling. I wanted to be honest with myself. I'm very honest, and so I kept saying, oh, I didn't fundraise this round because it was very hard. But I kept going because of the fact that I was always around 2 parents, and I was always feeling their love and their energy. And a lot of people have never actually felt that, because they were so far away from New York and New Jersey in that area. They couldn't come often, or they couldn't see them at all. And I kept saying, with everything that I've experienced and have seen with 2 parents, they're like my grandparents. I feel like they actually are family. Even though as a kid growing up, they're like, oh, who are these people in your house? Why do you have so many pictures of them? Oh, they're my grandparents. See, my mom is Korean, so it works. Yes, that's why we have so many pictures of them. But as time grew on, I realized lying like that was not great. It's very bad to lie like that. However, because of me kept saying they're like my grandparents, I'm always around them more than my own grandparents. They started to feel like family to me. They were telling me how to think, how to feel about God, and kept, trying to guide me to be a better person. I'm actually quite lazy, so without anyone telling me how to do something or to do it, I don't like it. I feel very useless right now because my husband, Rahika, is not here. He left right after New Year's, and without him telling me what to do, Julie, clean that. Julie, clean this. Do laundry, fold that, make the bed. I'm not doing anything of that, and I feel useless because I need him to tell me to do that, even though I don't like being told what to do. So when he comes back, he goes, Julie, clean this. Oh, I don't want to, but thank you for saying it anyway. I've missed you. When after STF, it was very difficult for me because that was when Love and Life just started. I was very tired of having to be told what to do, be the same as everyone else. Even though True Parents kept saying, you are unique and you are an individual, have different individual values, you can do your own thing for God, etc. But everyone else kept saying, you have to do it exactly how we say it. And I didn't understand why there was a disharmony there. So I started watching the show, Doctor Who, even though Daniel Allen is not here to say, oh, I love the show. There are 13 main characters because they are the same character. The show started in 1963, and as the show grew, the concept of the main character grew. Basically, this person has a sonic screwdriver, so a tool to fix things, even though he tries to use it as a gun, and it doesn't work. He goes, oh, bzzz. It's like, what are you gonna do? Make a cabinet? Are you trying to make a bed? We can't do that with this enemy. But basically, the main character, instead of giving a gun to kill things and to destroy things, he's given a screwdriver to fix things. And instead of a superpower or a spaceship, he has a ship, but it's broken, and it's the outside looks like a police box with a phone, so that people can call him for help, instead of just, he shows up and destroys things or does cool things. He just kind of he would randomly go places that he doesn't want to go to fix things. He's given 2 hearts so that he feels more emotions, that he can love more, instead of a crazy superpower to do something really cool. Because that way he can understand how hard it is for everyone else that's going through something, and instead of trying to just make it so that one side wins, he wants both sides to win. Instead of violence and hatred, he wants love and unity. Doesn't that sound familiar? Don't we hear true parents say, we need to use love and unity to bring peace to the world and to bring everyone back together to God? And that's basically what the show is. So a lot of the fans love this character because he wants to help in the most peaceful way. And he doesn't want anyone to fight at all. He went through a lot of pain and a lot of suffering, just like True Father, and he still is very positive and has hope and love for everyone that he sees. And he always tries to help each side the best that he can. And one of the things he said is, pain is a gift. Without the capacity for pain, we can't feel the hurt we inflict. So there are a lot of people that don't understand that when we say something insensitive or a little mean, it's actually very painful for the person who hears it. I don't have any right to say I don't say it, because I do. I've seen my husband cry because I would say something. I'm sorry. I am not perfect, I try. As soon as he starts crying because of what I say, I'm very regretful and I'm very sorry, because I know I did wrong. It's very obvious. But that just makes me want to do better in not hurting him. And so when we understand the pain that we've been given from others, we try our best not to do that, right? And that's basically, for me, that was True Father and True Mother. They've been through so much persecution and suffering, and basically they just had to, they just know how much it hurts, and they don't want to do that to anyone else. So they try very hard to make sure it doesn't happen again, and then make sure that other people don't feel that pain. And I think that's one of the reasons why I chose to stay in the church. After STF, I wanted to leave. I wanted to leave, go on a boat, work on a boat, just leave. Because I was so tired of not being understood and being told I had to be exactly the same as everyone else. But having to listen to True Parents' words reminded me in this show, I stayed because I wanted to not hurt God and not hurt True Parents anymore by leaving because I was being selfish. Another thing that I really loved, especially in this world where everyone has to be exactly the same, they have to do it exactly this way, or you're not normal, and you're weird, and you're an outcast. Basically, it's in the, I forgot my book. What was it? In The Divine Principle. I came across this when I was doing a lecture on STF. And this one, in chapter 7, section 1, it says, each person is God's substantial object partner who manifests a distinctive aspect of God's dual characteristics. Hence, That person is the only one in the entire universe who can stimulate that distinctive aspect of God's nature to bring him joy. Like, wow. The divine principle is telling us we are the only ones that can bring joy to God the way that we are. And in this show, just as Mrs. Nakama-san said, how unique we are, and how long it took for the entire universe and science and numbers and probability, we became us. In this show, he also told this character, this little girl, she made a mistake. She was called the Queen of Years. They hailed her as perfect because she can sing all these songs perfectly. But then she messed up a little bit, and they said, in order to appease this God from waking up, you need to sacrifice your life for him. Let him eat you so that he can go back to sleep. And the main character then said, he explained how the universe started with the Big Bang, and all of these particles and atoms, molecules, and things came together over billions and billions of years to finally make shoes, cabbages, ramen, buildings, cars, and eventually made you. Sacrificing yourself is not a sacrifice, it's a waste. Because there's only one you, and there's no one else going to be you. Even twins are not exactly the same. I know these twins growing up, these blessed children, they are so different, even though they look exactly the same. One person has this little mole here that she took off recently. She hated it, but they looked a little different because of that. Now they look exactly the same, but they're entirely different people, and they're entirely unique. So my favorite, this was one of my favorite scenes. I was crying because it was so touching. I was reminded again that God is working through everything to tell me how much he loves me and how unique and valuable I am. Ooh, I'm gonna try not to cry, I'm sorry. So after reading this line from Divine Principle, and after having to see the scene and having to go through everything and realize how unique I am and how valuable I am, therefore everyone else is unique and valuable, I decided to look at the world more positively. Right now, the world is suffering, don't you think? I'm crying because everyone else is suffering. I'm crying because I'm frustrated that everyone else is suffering, and they don't know how to handle themselves. They don't know where to turn to. Recently, my job is to listen to words from headquarters that they give me and to type it down from English to English. And I usually listen to Dr. Kim, give his sermons, his talks, his presentations. I've listened to his presentation when he recently came and talked about the rooster and all these other things about the gear and the new submarines 5 times, because I listened to it over and over for work 5 times. That was very long. But right now, I'm working to type down everything that True Mother has ever said on Eyepiece TV. And the thing that she keeps saying is to always move forward and to testify to about true parents to the world, because the world is suffering. I'm seeing that, especially with this show and the fan base here, they are looking for hope. And right now, we are that hope. We have actually, I've seen first generation throughout the world, and they talk about their experiences and how hard it was for them, and they look very tired. They look so tired from having to do so much and receive so little. And I can't stand seeing that. I hate it. I want all the first gen to have hope. And which is why I actually wanted to speak today, because I see that none of the second generation friends do anything for you. Because they don't play instruments, they feel like they can't contribute, they're too busy, they're a little shy, they're probably just really shy. Oh, I don't know, I don't want to be up front, people. I'm moving around right now because I'm very nervous and I'm shaking. So I'm trying to move so it doesn't look obvious that I'm really nervous. Because I don't like people staring at me when I talk to them. It's too many faces, I can't. But I'm doing it because I want to comfort you all. I want you to feel loved. Actually, before this past week, I was with the Korean Sunmoon students who came and was speaking in Korean most of the week. And then, so I kind of forgot some English for some reason. I apologize. But Reverend Takami called me when I was with them for lunch, and he told me that he wasn't coming and that he wanted to record it. So that he can see it later. And he was very sorry not to be here. And he was, trying to comfort me into preparing certain things as well, and trying to remind me that I needed to make sure that I had some things to prepare for service that I forgot that actually counted in service, because I don't really do it very often. And then a few days later, Mimi-san, she called me. I looked at my phone. Whose number is this? I answered, oh, how did she get my number? Mimi-san, was like, oh, do you have a camera to record? Do you have someone to record the service? Because this is an historic event of the youth service. And I said, oh, no pressure, right? Historic, I see, thank you. But at that point, yesterday, I completely forgot about the camera to record for Reverend Takami. I'm very sorry, and I felt very thankful that she reminded me, even though then she said, no pressure, this is historic. Good job. And then Mrs. Takami then was trying to help me with some preparations for Sunday service as well. And even though this is the youth service, a lot of the first generation were, they were thinking about me, they were trying to help me, and I felt very loved by that. So thank you very much for reminding me of things I don't know. Thank you. Yes, clap. Clap for yourselves. You guys are awesome. So when I see people, I like to try and figure out how unique and how interesting they are. And I try to always hope that they're good people, and always try to be optimistic, positive about who they are and how their lives are going to be. We're all flawed, so I will forgive the flaws because I'm very flawed, because I don't like to clean my house or cook anymore. I'm sorry, husband. But this is only because of what True Parents has done for us. I think about this all the time. If True Parents weren't here, I wouldn't look like this, because my parents wouldn't be together. I would either be full Korean or full American. I wouldn't think or feel the way that I am. I wouldn't meet anyone. I wouldn't meet Youngkwon. I wouldn't meet, Celine. I wouldn't meet the Nakamas or anyone else. I wouldn't be in Hawaii to live here. I would probably just come for vacation and then just go back home wherever that will be. And that is it. I wouldn't, be able to meet Johan and hug him and call him pudgy and call him fat. Because True Parents weren't here, but because True Parents were here, they matched my parents together, they matched everyone together, and that's why we're all here today. Oh, Johan, it's okay. So I think it's the most amazing thing that True Parents being here brought us here. Rika, Matomi, Hide wouldn't look like that if it wasn't for True Parents. They wouldn't act that way. Youngkwon wouldn't be here selling fish or giving us great discounts on fish, or anything else. But it's because True Parents are here that we are here. So we really should, I feel really thankful now, after all the struggles and having to realize things, and I'm old now, although, we're all very young at heart, so it's okay, that whatever troubles it is, we always have that hope. Two parents are here after all the struggle that God has been through. They're here and they worked very hard to ease God's heart. And because I'm so thankful for what they've done for me and for me being here, I want to help them in some way. I can't be at headquarters working this really great cause. I'll be working in the background where they give me stuff and give me money for it. I get to be jealous of my friends who are in Apple Heaven, USA, and I get to be jealous that they go to Korea, but I will always be supporting them so that they can have their work easier. And I want to do that way for everyone else. Yes. I find that people are not as they seem. The picture on the left is what the show's spaceship looks like. It's just a box, a very small box. Just like people, Rika is very short. She's a very small person, but there's more to her on the inside. The picture on the right is what the ship looks like when you go inside. It is much bigger on the inside, don't you think? People freak out in the show all the time. It's bigger on the inside. Oh no, why? I don't understand. It broke science. But I find people are just like that. When we see people for the first time, we don't know about them. We don't know anything. When I saw Youngkwon for the first time, I thought he was, he looks tired. This was in New York City during Love and Life when he was on GPA. He had to stay for a few months, but yes. And then he came up to me during ballroom dancing and asked me to dance, and I said no. And I hurt him so hard because I said no. If I were to think back on it, I don't remember saying no, but I'm pretty sure I said no to a lot of people, a lot of guys, because first I probably said they're not good enough for me, or they're not tall enough for me, or I'm just really tired from dancing before. And so I can't tell Youngkwon which one it was to excuse myself. All I can say is I'm sorry for doing that to you. You're a great person. I swear, if I knew, I would have said yes. Now, since I've known Youngkwon a little longer than before, especially when he first asked me, I definitely would dance with him if he asked, because I got to know him. And that's how I realized that I'm still judging people for how they look on the outside, but not for who they are on the inside. And I feel bad about that. I'm sorry, Youngkwon. But I find that looking at True Parents, there's a lot of, there are a lot of rumors. They make fun of True Father a lot for being the Asian, businessman who takes money from you and created a church just so that he can keep taxes away or something. But they don't know who he is, There's so much more to True Father than we don't even realize. Up until the last, few years of his life, he never threw cake in your face. I actually got cake in my face once. I was in Las Vegas and True Father was there. He had to be wheelchaired after the accident with his back. But he got up, he was reading from his binder for a very long time, and they were celebrating with the cake, and he just went, just slap, just took the cake and threw it. And I was somehow close enough that I got a little on my face, and I was like, oh, yes, my face did need some cream on it, yes. But that's just something that we didn't know. We didn't know how funny True Father was for, the last 50, 60 years that he was preaching and that he made our church and he was leading us. We didn't know how funny he was. We didn't know that he would just take cake and just put it on your face and just kind of put it everywhere else, just for fun. We didn't realize how funny he was. And that's just something that we learned, right? I was very surprised. First I went, what a waste of cake, because it was delicious. But but that's okay, because you get a nice little face cream. It's good for your skin. So, but I always find how interesting people are when I get to know them more. I don't like making friends first. I don't like meeting friends first. But when I do talk to someone new, I want to get to know them. when I ask someone, how are you doing? I don't just say, oh, how are you doing? Oh, cool, cool, peace out later. No, I don't care just because that's what you're supposed to say. I want to know how you are actually doing. So when someone says, it was fine, I said, fine is not good enough. How are you actually doing? I want to know how you're doing so I can help if it's a really bad week or something. Or if it's good, I want to make sure that it keeps going. But I never would have thought like this if it wasn't for seeing two parents and because of being here, meeting new people and how interesting they are. I find myself to be very logical and analytical. I still don't know what analytical means, but my friend told me that I was. So when I find something that I don't like, I will write off the entire thing as bad. If I have a bad experience with a Filipino person, I write off everyone as that kind of person. But actually, that's not right because I've met other Filipinos. There's a lot of Filipinos in New Jersey, and I know that they're all different. They're all very great. They're all very fun-loving, very religious. They put me to shame with my faith. And I have to tell myself, that's just that one person that, made me feel bad. Everyone else is not like that, And being half Korean, I have this little resentment for Japanese people because of the invasion and forced occupation when in the end of 1800s, beginning of 1900s, up until World War II, where they treated Korean people horribly. And I had a lot of resentment because after World War II, or right before, I'm not sure, my oldest uncle, my mom is the youngest of 9. So she's never met her oldest brother before because the Japanese boat stole him from the beach and they never saw him again. And that happened a lot in Korea. And so I felt a lot of hurt and resentment towards Japanese people, and I didn't want anything to do with them. But I'm here in a very Japanese community where they accidentally speak Japanese to me. I am married to a half Japanese husband who has a very interesting Japanese mother. Very interesting. She's not a very cute, very feminine Japanese mom who's a very cute one, She's very manly. She's very strong. And I'm always taken by surprise by how not Japanese woman she is. But she's also very funny and very caring. She doesn't show her love in how she says things, but in the way that she cooks. So she would say something that I don't like, and I'll be very angry all day. Then she'll make this great dinner, and I'm like, you're a good person. Thank you. So I am aware that of this resentment from my family and from my ancestors, that it's very hard to be around Japanese people. However, I'm always surprised in how great they are, how cute they are, how passionate they are, and how devoted they are. So I watch a lot of anime to try and understand the language, not the culture of anime, because, but to be able to speak a little bit of Japanese to everyone and to understand a little bit of what they say, because I don't know anything very much except for the bad parts of Japan and Japanese history. And because Father went through so much and he still loves Japan, I always was curious, why do you still love Japan? Why? But I understand. It's how passionate they are, how devoted they are, and how loving you are as people. And you put me to shame with devotion because I'm very lazy. If I can't do something good, I'll just give up. But if you can't do something good, you work so hard to be better. Put me to shame, everyone. It's okay. I still love you. But that's how much I've given thought because of how each person is so different and unique and valuable to God. How Young-kwon is the only way to bring joy to God the way that he is. How Mimi-san can bring joy to God the way that she is. I can't do it because I'm me, not them. And that's something that was very important to understand when I really wanted to just hate everyone, when I really wanted to just not be around anyone anymore. I kept thinking, how God can't be happy if I shut myself away from everyone else that makes him happy, because he wants us to interact, he wants us to be happy together, he wants us to bring him joy together. Even though we're all different in how we give him joy by ourselves, we'll give him so much more joy when we're all together. And that's something that True Parents has really instilled in me from being around them since I was born. Having so many pictures of them in my house, and having my father as the church photographer for 35 years. I was always surrounded by them, so I couldn't escape loving how wonderful they are and how filled with hope they give the world, and how I want to help them bring more hope to this world. There's a little video I want to show, because I was talking about how words are very strong and powerful. There's this, I hope my Wi-Fi is working. There's this scene in Doctor Who where the character, who is Vincent van Gogh, gets to hear words from the future. He goes to this art museum, doesn't realize his works are there, because when he was alive, everyone hated him. You know, he was so poor, he couldn't sell any paintings. You know, they all thought his paintings were horrible. Who thinks Van Gogh's paintings are horrible? No one. Okay, great. Good. Because now he's, known as one of the best painters of all time, right? But when he was alive, no one said that to him. No one appreciated him. And he ended up killing himself after a long time of all that struggle, all that hatred, all of that suffering from him. And he still painted these wonderful paintings for us, not knowing that it was for us. He just painted because he loved it, even though no one liked it. This is him hearing the words that he's never heard before. Actually, I need to hook this up to the speaker. I have forgotten. One moment, please. So yes, this character, this episode, I'll just put it to the microphone. Just make it faster.
Where are we?
Paris, 2010 AD, and this is the mighty Musée d'Orsay, home to many of the greatest paintings in history.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Ignore that, I've got something more important to show you.
Take all your chances while you can. You never know when they'll pass you by. Like a song the mathematician cannot solve. Like me, trying my hardest to explain. It's all about your cries and kisses. Those first steps that I can't calculate.
Black. We met a few days ago. I asked you about the church and the verse.
Oh, yes. Glad to be of help. You were nice about my tie.
Yes, and today is another cracker, if I may say so, but I just wondered, between you and me, in 100 words, where do you think Van Gogh rates in the history of art?
Well, big question, but to me, Van Gogh is the finest painter of all. Certainly the most popular great painter of all time. The most beloved, his command of colour the most magnificent. He transformed the pain of his tormented life into ecstatic beauty. Pain is easy to portray, but to use your passion and pain to portray the ecstasy and joy and magnificence of our world, no one had ever done it before. Perhaps no one ever will again. To my mind, that strange, wild man who roamed the fields of Provence was not only the world's greatest artist, but also one of the greatest men who ever lived.
Vincent, sorry. I'm sorry, is it too much?
No. They are tears of joy. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Sorry about the beard.
It's all about you. Crying kisses. It's all about you.
So before I close, I really hope that this week God will be able to show each and every one of you how special you are and how you are just bigger on the inside. Please join me in prayer. Thank you. Dear Heavenly Parents and true parents, thank you for everything that you've done for us. Thank you for pushing forward through everything that you've been through, just so that we can be here today, so that you can love us, and so that we can bring joy to you. It's so hard being here because of everything that's going on in the world. It's trying to push us down, trying to keep us from really bringing this world and your children back to you. And it's just so hard that we forget how special and valuable we are. So I really hope that each and every one of us can feel that power this week, so that we can really feel your love, so that we can feel hope and renewed energy, so that we can really testify to how true parents and how wonderful you are, Heavenly Parents, so that we can really bring this world to a happy ending. I really pray that each one of us can be protected by you this week, so that we can come back next week and we can come back happier and with smiles on our faces filled with love. I pray this in all of our names. In my name, Julie and Marika Wagner, blessed couple, Aju.